Anyway, I've got a bunch of stuff. You know, the city never sleeps, even though it is summertime, and we all try to take some time off. As you know, City Hall is well underway in its new construction. So far, I see, Jorge, we are on schedule with a move-in date of September or October of next year. Jorge's done a great job managing this project. Our employees, of course, can't wait to move in and get out of the cramped space on Pinehurst. So it's well on its way. We also announced this week that we have launched our new online payment capabilities for our utility billing. So you can choose to pay online or on the phone, totally automated at no cost to you. So no more stamps are necessary. Finally coming into the 21st century. The fact that we haven't had this is, you know, kind of comical, but we hope to launch our online permitting system by the year. And this should streamline the process for small and large processes or projects. You will actually be able to see where your permit is and whose desks it's on at any time online. So that'll be a really cool system. And really our mission is try to make our services more automated and more convenient for you because you are our customers. Of course, you've probably heard this year that many cities are in the process of receiving the American Recovery Act funding. Since the last time you've met, we've gotten a more updated amount. So we are over $18 million that we will be receiving, half this year and half the next. And the money can be used for many, many things. I'm really proud to say that we've hired a very reputable consultant, the same consultant that the county is using to guide us on, help us navigate what we can and can't use the money for. Some of the types of things we can use this money for are business recovery, transit projects like a new downtown looper that we want to bring and an expanded ferry service. Our pavement management system, which can run as high as $1 million a year. The Skinner Boulevard redesign, affordable housing projects, and tourism projects. So those are just to name a few types of things that we can do. Once we get a pretty clear picture on what those things are or what's legal for us to spend money on, we plan on having a community town hall this fall to get your opinion on what you'd like to see us spend this money on. So stay tuned, make sure you get your voice heard. Another thing we've been working on feverishly over the summer has been increasing our parking stock. So far, we've added parking at the corner of Virginia and Milwaukee, that side of Meese Hospital parking lot. It is available now to the public. We've also worked out a deal with Meese Hospital for parking at the corner of Milwaukee and Main Street, which is the old post office for those old timers like me. Currently just their parking lot there, but over time, over the next 6 months, we'll be tearing down the building that exists there and creating even more parking. And drum roll, we are currently under contract and doing our due diligence to purchase the parking lot behind Skips. It's known as the old Station Square parking lot at the corner of Douglas and Scotland. We currently lease it, so we're hoping to be able to purchase it with the possibility of building a parking garage there some future. So those are some of the parking projects we've been working on. A lot of people have been asking, everybody talks about the development that goes on in the city of Dunedin. So I thought I'd give you a little update on some of those things. The Gateway project, which of course is across from Meese Hospital, scheduled to start next spring sometime. And there are 2 projects that are slated to come before the commission sometime soon. They include what they call the J's Causeway Hotel, which really isn't a hotel as much as it's a big building of dorm rooms for the minor league players of the Jays. And that should be coming before us pretty soon, as well as a hotel, a 5-star hotel slated for the Ocean Optics property. If you remember, the Ocean Optics property is located on Douglas in Maine and had been purchased by some folks from out of the country, and they had a whole Mediterranean type of look, condos and that type of thing. And those people have sold the property. So there's a whole new concept that will be coming before us. I can't really talk about a lot of the details because it's a quasi-judicial item and we haven't approved it or seen it yet, but those are two big projects that are coming before us pretty soon. And then also over the summer, we contracted with the Urban Land Institute to do a market and use analysis of the Coca-Cola property. As you know, they are slated to move out of the city, and we have an industrial use zoning there. So we hired some really phenomenal professionals to help guide us as to what kind of employers might want to be attracted to this sort of property. We expect to get those results in a presentation to the commission sometime in mid-October. In the meantime, the city has been meeting with Coca-Cola on monthly for regular status updates. And it appears that they are going to stay here a little bit longer than they anticipated, probably until spring. And they're running somewhat of a dual operation between Dunedin and Bartow because they have such a demand for product. So that's good for us at this point. Also over the summer, we received a long-term sustainability report and general plan for the Dunedin Golf Club. Over the next few months, our staff and the consultant that we've been using, the National Golf Foundation, will be making recommendations on a solid master plan for capital improvements and the best manner of operations that lead to a kind of a long-term sustainability for our historic gem that we all love. So keep an eye out for those presentations. And then finally, just last night, we did our first of two votes to pass a balanced budget for the new year. We have a number of significant projects and initiatives. We really started this last year being roughly $2 million in the hole. And with a lot of hard work from great people, including my colleagues, we are only roughly $280,000 in the hole. So we've done a pretty good job in figuring out how to move forward. And we've got a good amount of reserves right now. And with the American Recovery Act funding, we may be able to even solve that little amount that we are in the hole, if you will. So we feel pretty good and pretty strong and that we're in a good financial position, even after being hit by a pandemic. So that's what's been happening over the summer. It's a lot of stuff, and be happy to answer any questions. You're on mute.
Thank you. I got a lawnmower outside my window. Do we have any questions for the mayor? If so, would you raise your hand? If not, I opened the Citizen Academy, and I was very happy to hear that the new swimming pool is back.
I have a quick question. Can I do it?
Yes.
Again, with the city finishing up the budget, I just want to thank the city and staff because, once again, the city has supported the Dunedin Fine Arts, Dunedin History Museum in their budget this year. And again, that does help us for operational support. So again, they have supported the cultural and the arts and the history of museum and the city of Dunedin. So we thank the city for that.
Thank you.
I have a quick question. I was taking notes and I missed the date anticipated for the start of the Gateway project.
Oh, okay. So that we're looking at the spring right now. It might be January, but I'm just saying spring because it's been a moving target. So sometime next spring.
Anyone else? I have joggle between screens here. If not, then what we'll do at this point, I'll introduce our second Vice President, Stephanie, and she will introduce our program.
Okay, now that I am unmuted, Today's program is going to be presented by Blair Cooey and by Vinny. And I apologize, Vinny, I did not get a complete bio on you, but please feel free to give us more about yourself. But I'll go ahead and introduce Blair right now, and then y'all can take it from there. Blair is, of course, on our board of directors, so he's one of our own. He's also been president of the board of trustees of the Dunedin Museum for the past 3 years. He first visited Dunedin in 1969 when his parents purchased 2 units in the Clydebank building at Royal Stuart Arms on Honeymoon Island, and he presently resides as a full-time resident in another unit in that building. He enjoys walking nearly every day to Pet Beach at Honeymoon Island State Park, although not as much as usual because I haven't seen him out there lately. And he served as the Dunedin Boat Club's Vice Commodore in 2016 and as Commodore in 2017. He earned his BA and MBA from the University of Michigan in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and his JD from Washington and Lee School of Law in Lexington, Virginia, and is a licensed Florida attorney. So Blair, if you'd like to take it from there.
Certainly. Thank you, Stephanie. I want to iterate what Vinny said to the mayor. I should have said it myself, but Vinny, you said it perfectly. And as you may not know, the museum and the Fine Arts Center, we're 2 civic partners with the city, and we're very honored by that. And we hope that we give as much to the city as they give to us. And that's kind of what we're going to be talking about today. But anyway, thank you, Mayor, and everybody on the City Commission. Deborah Kynes is our city liaison, and she's been a great force to us, as Mo Freeney previous to her. Now, I was going through notes even this morning, and I realized that I think the last presentation that we did was in March 2019. But when I say we, Vinny wasn't there. And here's why. Vinny was in Tallahassee at the time. And I made note of that to everybody. Well, I want to say, starting right out, Vinny was in Tallahassee a couple weeks ago. And again, what happens there, Vinny meets with all of these various people, and they rank cultural institutions and museums. And he may not be happy with me, but I'm going to say that we were ranked #1 out of small museums in the state of Florida with a 94.8 rating. And that's out of, I think, 33 small museums, if I recall that, Vinny. But in any event, I think people in the DCO ought to know that. And all of the hard work that you and David Knupp, our curator, Jessica Nelson, Kim Myers, who is our administrative manager, everyone works so hard at the museum. And that's what happens. And the practical result is that funding often is geared towards how high your ranking is. So it's always a good thing to be high, and especially #1. So again, Vinny, thank you on that. Vinny has been around, I think, for 25 or 26 years. 27 now. Wow. In fact, I would rather almost have you give a little bio right before you give your talk. Okay, Vinny, could we do that? Sure. And I'll just start out here. Let me just say, the museum started back in 1970 as the Dunedin Historical Society. We're going to be coming up to the 50th. Well, we were going to be celebrating in 2020, but then COVID-19 hit. And then we were going to do it this year, but then another event hit, and Vinny will be talking about that. So our 50 plus 2 is going to be next year. And we'll give everyone, way advanced notice, and it ought to be a big, great affair. But the bylaws state the purpose of the museum, and here it is. It's to enrich community pride by sharing Dunedin's legacy and heritage, to collect and preserve the historical artifacts and documents of Dunedin, and to foster quality intergenerational learning and historical exhibits. And, our whole raison d'etre here is to make the community more aware of even the museum. I run into people all the time. I am not kidding. I wouldn't be telling you this if I were kidding. And I'll say, hey, have you been to the museum? Oh, where's the museum? So I hope that all of you who are listening today, will, make that choice to say, you know what, I'm going to tell somebody about the museum. We would really, really appreciate that. And if you haven't been down, to see it in the past couple years, come on down. The renovation was done in 2019. It's just great. The museum store managed by Patty Coleman and Sue Adams. We try to get made in the USA items to sell, especially those that are made by local people in the Dunedin area. So we're really very proud of that. Let's see. We have only 25 minutes. Is that correct? Okay. Let's go back and forth, Vinny. Why don't you right now start talking about, what you want to, but you wanted to talk about the events coming up, and especially the event at the Kellogg Mansion, and then I'll fill in.
Okay. I'd be happy to. First of all, I want to just add on to the fact that when we did the state grants, we were the first category to small to medium. Since that time, all the state museums and cultural institutions have been ranked. Roughly over 700 museums, aquariums, fine arts, and the Dunedin Fine Arts and our museum are still in the top 65 at 700 institutions.
Wow.
Very well this year on that. We do, as Blair said, we're postponing the 50th anniversary because of a situation came up. As some of you may know, I am on the Historic Preservation Commission with Liaison Deborah Kynes, and our goal in Dunedin is to save historical properties and homes. And we've had a lot of homes recently through the commissioners that have approved it. We're up to almost 19 historic homes saved in Dunedin that their owners are very proud to hold a plaque on their homes that show that these homes will stay intact and remain historic for the city of Dunedin to show. And again, our cultural history and pride will be seen throughout the history of the community. Matter of fact, the Presbyterian Church this month has applied for historic status, which the commissioners will see on the next agenda in November, because they're celebrating their anniversary and they've applied for historic preservation for the main part of their chapel, which was built in the 1920s. So we're looking forward to adding them on the historic roster. Again, community service. October, as everybody knows, is a big Halloween thing. And we always get community involved the week of Halloween. We have downtown Dunedin for trick-or-treating. We do the silent movie with sound effects at the chapel that week. We take a movie and we do sound effects, so everybody's involved. And this year, instead of straight cemetery ghost stories, we've got the Tiki Bus, who is allowing us free to use the Tiki Bus and go out through the city of Dunedin and tell some of the historic ghost stories that are around, such as like the Fenway Hotel, the Andrews Chapel. So it's a historic ghost ride the week of Halloween. So keep an eye on that. But the biggest thing we've been working on is, first of all, is on November 6th is the level of our cocktail party. And we're calling it the last hurrah of the Kellogg's Mansion. The one I want to bring up, though, is real quickly, is the Kellogg's Mansion was looked at by the Historic Preservation to try to preserve. It was in horrible shape. It is in horrible shape. Matter of fact, part of it is so bad that we're not even sure we're going to allow people in for safety reasons and for humidity and moisture and mold. So we spent a lot of time with the committee, with the city, and with the family, who I'd like to thank, the Wank family, Dr. David Wank and his wife, attorney Chrissy Carpenter. They are fully on board now to help the museum make something out of this. If some of you may remember, 10 years ago, the Bounton McDougall House on Victoria Drive was in the same situation. Connor family bought that house and they went with us to look about preserving it. It was way past the preservation point. It would have cost millions of dollars to restore it. People came up to me and said, why can't we save it? Why not? And I said, sometimes it's a win-win, and sometimes it's a win and halfway win. They came to us with a proposal saying that they can't save it. It would be way too much money. They're building something that would look good on Victoria Drive. And to top it all off, to support historic preservation, they had an auction where they raised over $25,000 for the museum for historic preservation of our historic Andrews Memorial Chapel. Could we save the building? We would have loved to. Did it happen? No, it just was not feasible. And pretty much this is what's happening with the Kellogg's Mansion. We looked at trying to save half of it, pieces of it, move it to different locations. It just was not feasible. So the family came together with us and the city and decided what's the next best thing. And they are sharing to offer us a high-end cocktail celebration party. All the revenue that is made through them and us on this project will go to historic preservation and operation to the museum. They are allowing us to go into the building before it is demolished in December to take historic artifacts out, take photographs of the building so we can preserve it in historic photo history. So they've been getting bad press, but I have to say the Wank family has been 100% behind us and trying to do as much as they can to do at least the historic right to this building. So that is why we're holding this November 6th benefit. The money will help preserve preservation in the future. It will give people an opportunity to see the Kellogg's Mansion and have a good time and do it for a good cause, the Historic Museum of Dunedin. So we're very proud for them to do this. I want to thank our president, Blair. Blair, that's your name, right?
Yeah.
He's worked very hard, especially I was hoping she'd be on, but Anita Apley and her group did a tremendous job helping to clean it up because it was a mess. And they spent days, weeks trying to clean it up, getting it ready for November 6th. So they did a great job. And I really have to say, anyone that comes to this event will be really excited about seeing the home. We've done a nice job cleaning it up. And then a week later, and Blair may want to touch on this, again, the family is allowing us to have an auction where we can auction items off of the building before it's destroyed. So I really want to give kudos to the Wank family. They're working with us and the city to do the best to make this a win-win situation. And I promise the community of Dunedin will not be disappointed when all of this is over. Blair?
Yeah, the only thing I would say, Vinny, is when you came out and said there are parts of the house that we may not want to have people in, that's confined to the carriage house.
Yes.
That's not the main house.
Not the main house.
And even so, we may decide that, no, it's okay if we realize, or we'll check it out, absolutely. But the main part of the house, even though the renovation would be millions, it's certainly safe to, walk around and attend that function that evening. Well, again, it's hard, Vinny, you and I, if we were together, we could go back and forth. You were going to talk about a couple of the events like Ron and Candy Barnett.
Oh, thank you. Yes, I wanted to bring that up because that is tonight. As you may or may know, former Commissioner Ron and his wife Candy actually wrote a murder mystery that is related to Dunedin and Victoria Drive. We sell it at the museum and several other places. Tonight at 7 p.m. from 7 to 9, they'll be at the historic Andrews Chapel, and we're inviting the public to visit it. It's a $15 donation, and they're going to talk about how they created the idea for this murder mystery, and they're going to talk about the people in the book and the events that happened with it, and then have his books on it there. Lynn is holding it up there. I
have it too.
Oh, and Blair. It's all about Dunedin. The murder takes place. It's I'm trying to think of that TV show, that the murder mystery show, but it's our community and what happens with a long time ago murder mystery that happens on the Pinellas Trail. So,
yeah, and Vinny is in it too. The name is changed.
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
you know, okay. Am I not supposed to say that?
But
All
yeah,
Okay.
but it is going to be a fun time. They have some funny stories and great. 7 to 9 refreshments will be served. Masks are not required, but offered, and was only allowing enough so that there'll be plenty of space at the chapel so that everybody can space out. But if you're doing anything tonight at 7, it's well worth listening to them to talk about the story.
For tickets, you go to DunedinMuseum.org and
Right.
click on events.
Or they can do it right at the door.
Oh, okay. But it's $15 donation per
Yes.
person, right? Okay.
Are we gonna record it?
Yes, actually, we talked about that. If Justin is feeling better, I know he's just getting over COVID. They promised to try to get a film in there. If not, I will at least have it on digital volume with my camera.
Okay, speaking of books, I'm holding up one now too. Vinny will see that one.
Yeah.
And it's called Images of America, Dunedin by Vincent Luisi and A.M. de Quesada Jr. And it is just filled with just unbelievable photographs and a little bit of history. Now, I appreciate that. Not everybody has the same outlook on history or whatever, but I really recommend you to go to the museum store, pick up a book or two, flip through it, look and go, oh my God, I didn't know that. And I think you'll really be energized by that. A couple other events that are coming up. Well, we talked about Dunedin Express quickly.
Yeah.
It's going to be a shortened version this year, but it's still, if you have not been to it, or if you have children or grandchildren who have not, it is a once in a lifetime experience. At the Andrews Chapel Memorial
Very
Chapel.
similar to the Polar Express.
Yeah. And the Santa Claus is fantastic. And I don't know if we're going to have the trolley this year, but it is still a really, really great event. Another one is History Comes Alive, which is in February. And it is based on mostly people who are interred in that museum. And I've had the honor of doing 2 people in the past couple years. And it is just an experience. Again, I know I'm yelling at you. I don't know why. I haven't even had coffee yet. But history just makes me so excited. And to see the people there listening to it, it's a source of inspiration for me. Here's something else I'm going to be holding up. This is Tampa Bay Magazine, and Aaron Fodeman and Margaret Wood Burnside are real friends of the museum, and they're the editors and publishers of Tampa Bay. I just happened, again, on my way to the screen today, and I picked it up, and it's, the best of 2021, and sure enough, here is the best history museum, Dunedin History Museum. And it isn't just because we're friends. It's because you, Vinny, just do a heck of a job. Here is another item that I wanted to show you folks. Here are the plates of the Andrews Memorial Chapel that Deborah Kynes and her husband, Alan, along with Derek Jeter, William Jeter, her very good friends, and Deanna, Clark, their husband and wife in Jacksonville, Florida. They gave 144 of these to the museum, and they're fantastic. And they're for sale in the museum, but they're also at the people who get married at the chapel. I think Jessica has given them as
Yes.
Things to people who are being married there. I've actually got both colors here, blue and the rose, I guess. But again, this is just really fun. Maybe we should stop and see if people have questions. But before doing that, though,
Oh, okay.
I do want to really thank the Rotary North. I know there are so many organizations that give to us, but they did a golf outing in June. And it was for a variety of charities, but Dunedin Cares and the museum got the major part of the contributions. And I know John's on the line here. Thank you, John. I don't know if Mark is here or Gary Coughlin, Mark Middleton, but thank you all. Sherry Kincaid. By the way, I should mention Sherry is our newsletter putting it together. Cindy Reddy is the editor of it. Whom did I forget? Susan Littlejohn is our VP. Rhonda Harms is our treasurer. Christina Falara, another attorney, don't hold it against her, is the secretary. And then we have Gary Coughlin, whom I mentioned, Warren Duffy, Tia Lawton, who does done classy events in Dunedin. I mentioned Mark Middleton, Sharon Painter, who is doing in charge of the event for November 6th, and John Robinson is just, they're all fantastic trustees, and I couldn't be happier with that crew. But let's throw it open to questions. Can
I say one more thing real
Sure.
quick? If you've not seen it, again, we have our brand new gift shop that reopened 2 years ago. Patty Coleman and Sue Adams are our co-managers in the gift shop. And if you've never watched it on our website, on Tuesday at 12 noon, they do a live TV show. They're a great comedy team together, besides selling the gift shop items. But if you have never watched their show, go on and take a look at it. It's very cute. We've had comments from Sarasota and people come up saying they saw the show and wanted to see the museum because they saw that. So turn on Tuesday at noontime and have a good, enjoyable laugh with their show.
A couple other shout outs. Tom and Alice Anderson, perennial supporters of the museum, and Melba Rylot. And so, our hearts go out to them because their hearts have been given to us for so many years. And it just, this little thing you'll see here, it's the Florida Foodways sponsorship opportunities, but that's the exhibit that's going to be in the temporary gallery starting, we think, in February. And just a little synopsis of it. It says here, the history of food is not just the study of what people ate. It is the examination of material culture, the environment, agriculture, technology, economics, race, class, and so much more. David Knupp is our curator, and he has done such a fantastic job, along with Vinny and other people, to put all of the galleries together that you have seen were renovated, about 2 years ago. And he is putting together this exhibit. If you haven't been to the Century of Storms exhibit, which focuses on the hurricanes, in the 20th century and even after that in the 21st century, do it. I mean, I even yesterday when I was in, I looked at a couple more panels and wow, I meant to say, your heart just goes out to people when you see, 2,500 killed in the hurricane of 1935 or whatever. It really brings it home how lucky we are, not only to be just living the fantastic lives we do, but that we've avoided, the just horrific hurricanes. And let's cross our fingers and hope that, this year ends well and years to come. So why don't we throw it open to questions? I know we took a lot of time. I'm sorry. So, are there any questions for Vinny or me? Okay, did Stephanie and Larry, did we keep it kind of within the parameters here, or?
Yes, you did.
Okay. We could go on for hours. I'm not kidding, but I know that there is an agenda and there's a time, so we'll cut it off. Anybody
Thank you for letting us.
Yeah. Thank you so much. And just reach out to us. You can contact us through DunedinMuseum.org. Just go over and say, hey, I want to talk to Vinny or Blair, and we'd be happy to discuss whatever you would like. We really want to make the whole purpose of putting the new entrance on Main Street is to make it so much more visible. So please get the word out. One of the things I have in mind, I think it's like $35 a year for an individual. That's a dime a day. And for a family, what is it, $65 or $70? Less than a quarter today, you could be showing the support for the museum. I think we have maybe 350 or 400 members out of 37,000 people. Now, come on, gang, we can get together. And even if you had one friend and double that membership, and then next year, you two get one friend. I mean, we would be up to 3,000 or 4,000 within a couple of years. I know I'm starting to sound like a huckster, but I really do mean it. And I would love for there just to be that groundswell of support. Oh, Marie Todd, our new boxcar operator, is holding the 2-year event for Lane's Lemonade on September 23rd. Marie is fantastic, from Falkenberg, Sweden. Get to know her. Just the most wonderful person, along with Tony, her fiance. They're just fantastic people. So come and say hello. And partake of her delicious delectables there. Okay, I'm done.
Peggy?
Hey, Larry, hey, Blair, why don't you tell us how to join? How can we become supporters?
Oh, okay. Well, number one, you could go into the museum store and they'll give you an application right there. Or number two, you can go to DunedinMuseum.org. And I believe, right, Vinny, there's a membership tab, and it will, just direct you on how to do it. But I'm not, I meant to bring a quarter and hold it up. Pretend this is a quarter. Wake up in the morning and you have a quarter by your bed. Oh, I just, contributed to the museum today. That's what your membership would be doing. And 16 cents if you're an individual. Come on, gang, we can do it. Thank you, Peggy.
Thank you, Peggy.
Anything else? If not, then, well, Blair, thank you very much. Vinny, thank you.
Thank you, Larry.
And what the actor things are coming up around the museum. Greatly appreciate it.
Thank you.